November 1922. A young boy walks through the scorching desert mountains of Egypt when suddenly his foot hits something unusual. Stone steps carved deep into the rock. What happened next changed archaeology forever. This discovery led to the tomb of Tutankhamun, with nearly 5,000 ancient treasures inside, including that iconic golden funeral mask you've probably seen 1,000,000 times. But here's what will absolutely blow your mind. More than 100 years later, we're now closer than ever to an even bigger discovery. The tomb of Cleopatra herself. Now imagine standing on the northern coast of Egypt over 2,000 years ago. The ancient city of Taposiris Magna bustles with tens of thousands of traders and craftsmen. Ships from across the Mediterranean dock at its ports. Magnificent temples rise toward the sky. But beneath this thriving city, something incredible was hidden. A secret that's been buried for over 2 millennia, waiting for someone brave enough and determined enough to find it. Here's where our story gets really fascinating. For decades, most archaeologists searched for Cleopatra's tomb beneath modern-day Alexandria. It made sense, right? That's where she ruled. That's where she died. But one woman dared to think differently. Doctor Kathleen Martinez, a criminal lawyer turned archaeologist, had a theory that would change everything. She believed Cleopatra's final resting place lay hidden under the ancient temple of Taposiris Magna. And what she discovered there will absolutely astound you. Dr. Martinez didn't just stumble into archaeology. Her obsession began with a heated debate with her father back in 1990. He casually called Cleopatra a seductress, and Kathleen fired back. She argued that history had been completely unfair to this brilliant queen. The Romans wanted to destroy Cleopatra's reputation, and for centuries everyone just believed their version of events. That conversation changed everything. Kathleen dove into every ancient text she could find, especially the writings of Plutarch. The more she learned, the more convinced she became that Cleopatra wasn't just some queen who fell for the wrong guy. She was a genius playing a dangerous political game to keep Egypt independent. But here's what makes Dr. Martinez's story even more incredible. She packed her bags and went to Egypt with no official support. No permission from authorities, just pure determination to find the Queen's tomb. Can you imagine that level of dedication? She had never actually been to Egypt before, never dug up a single artifact. But she was about to make archaeological history. Now, let's talk about what her team actually discovered, because this is where things get mind-blowing. Hidden beneath the temple of Taposiris Magna, they found a secret underground tunnel stretching for nearly 1 mile. This tunnel was cut directly into solid rock. Ancient engineers carved this massive passageway with incredible precision. Scientists are calling it a geometric miracle, because its construction technique mirrors the famous Eupalinos tunnel in Greece. Think about this for a moment. Ancient builders started digging from 2 different points, aiming to meet perfectly in the middle. The mathematical calculations required for this feat were astonishingly advanced for that time period. But wait, there's more. Inside this tunnel, archaeologists discovered something that sent chills down their spines. Clay pots, dozens of ancient coins stamped with images of Cleopatra and Alexander the Great. And here's the most exciting part, a bust depicting the Egyptian queen herself. Each discovery added another piece to the puzzle, proving that Cleopatra had a direct connection to this site. Let me explain why this location makes perfect sense. The temple at Taposiris Magna was built by one of Cleopatra's own ancestors, Ptolemy II. The entire complex was dedicated to Osiris, the Egyptian god of the afterlife, and his queen Isis. Now, here's the crucial detail. Throughout her entire reign, Cleopatra tried to associate herself with Isis. She saw herself as the living embodiment of this powerful goddess. So choosing this sacred site as her eternal resting place, that would be absolutely fitting for a queen who considered herself divine. Ancient seekers and treasure hunters, we need to talk about the challenges facing this excavation because they're enormous. Natural disasters have battered this coastline for thousands of years. Earthquakes shook the ground. Massive floods swept through the region. Parts of the ancient city collapsed into the Mediterranean Sea. This means portions of the tunnel system are now completely submerged underwater. Excavations might have to continue deep beneath the waves through mud and ancient sediment. This will require incredible amounts of time, funding, and cutting-edge technology. Dr. Martinez knew she needed proof to convince Egyptian authorities to let her search underwater. So she did something remarkable. She excavated the entire temple site, digging deeper than anyone before her. And against all odds, she found it. A foundation plate about the size of a smartphone placed beneath the temple structure. On it, an inscription confirmed that the pharaoh had offered a large area to the goddess Isis. This was the confirmation she desperately needed. The temple was indeed dedicated to Isis, proving her theory wasn't just wild speculation. But here's where the story takes an even more dramatic turn. Martinez reached out to Robert Ballard. Yes, that Robert Ballard, the legendary explorer who discovered the Titanic wreckage. With support from Egyptian authorities, she and her team began exploring the waters off Alexandria's coast. What they found underwater was absolutely mind-blowing. Massive stone structures standing 6 to 10 feet tall, right where the ancient coastline would have been thousands of years ago. Basalt blocks identical to materials used in the temple statues. These weren't just random rocks fallen into the sea. They were the remains of a lost city buried beneath the waves for centuries. Now, let's use ground-penetrating radar technology to see what lies beneath without disturbing these fragile ancient structures. This special device allows archaeologists to analyze underground chambers and passages before they start digging. Since this tunnel system is over 2,000 years old, research must be conducted extremely delicately. Being able to see pictures of what's hidden underground before excavating is incredibly useful, and scientists have been using this technology at the site since 2011. Here's something that will absolutely amaze you. If we actually find Cleopatra's tomb intact, it could help us piece together the final mysterious chapter of her life. We still don't know exactly how she died. Ancient sources suggest she allowed a venomous Egyptian cobra to bite her. Other theories claim she was an expert in poisons and always carried a deadly substance hidden in her hairbrush. When Roman forces cornered her, she may have used this poison to end her life on her own terms, rather than face humiliation as a prisoner. Think about what else we might discover inside her tomb. Ancient records describe how Cleopatra locked herself in her mausoleum, surrounded by gold, silver, pearls, and priceless artwork. She threatened to burn these treasures rather than let the Romans take them. Could some of these incredible riches still be preserved after all these centuries? What scientific texts might we find? What personal belongings could reveal the true personality of this legendary queen. There's something deeply poetic about Dr. Martinez's quest. According to rumors, Cleopatra once said, "No man shall ever find my tomb." And it wasn't really about gender. She wanted no living soul to disturb her eternal rest. But surprisingly, it was indeed a woman who came closer than anyone in history to discovering the Queen's final resting place. A woman who refused to accept the conventional wisdom, who trusted her instincts and years of research, who dedicated her entire life to uncovering the truth about one of history's most fascinating figures. Fellow explorers, we stand at the threshold of a discovery that could be as significant as finding Tutankhamun's tomb. Perhaps even more important, because Cleopatra was the last active pharaoh of Egypt. She witnessed the end of 3,000 years of ancient Egyptian civilization. Her tomb could contain records explaining the final days of this great empire. Documents revealing political intrigues. Personal writings showing us the human side of a woman history has turned into legend. Here's a mind-bending fact to put this all in perspective. More time passed between Cleopatra's reign and Neil Armstrong's moon landing in 1969 than between Cleopatra and the construction of the Great Pyramid. Armstrong stepped onto the lunar surface 2,038 years after Cleopatra's birth. But the Great Pyramid was built in 2560 BC, making it already ancient when Cleopatra ruled. This shows us just how incredibly long Egyptian civilization lasted, and how Cleopatra lived much closer to our time than to the age of the pyramids. Which ancient mystery fascinates you most? Do you think Dr. Martinez will actually find Cleopatra's tomb? What do you imagine might be hidden in those underwater chambers? How would discovering Cleopatra's final resting place change our understanding of ancient Egypt? These are questions we want you to ponder and share your thoughts with our community of fellow explorers in the comments below. Before we conclude today's incredible journey, make sure you've subscribed to Treasures of History and activated the notification bell so you never miss our archaeological adventures. Share this video with fellow history lovers who need to know about these amazing discoveries. Leave your theories and questions in the comments, because your insights might unlock the next great mystery. Join us next time as we continue our quest to uncover the treasures that time forgot and the secrets that changed the world forever. Until then, keep exploring,